So moving on, there was a bunch of options that were presented, which I think were pretty interesting. The options that were presented to General Iyer, there was option A, B, and C. Where's option A? A bunch of redacted stuff. This option would benefit from a proactive COVID-19 vaccination outreach program led by the Canadian Forces Health, where CAF members would be required to attend information center sessions and afforded the opportunity to refuse vaccination in a private setting. Okay. Option B, the requirement for COVID-19 vaccination for specific tasks, locations, and or missions would be established through an evidence-based risk assessment. The focus would include domestic and expeditionary operations as well as out-of-country postings. With this option, CAF members who are not vaccinated against COVID-19 would be assessed as not meeting the requirement for a specific task, deployment, and or posting. The potential career and follow-on financial impact of these instances would increase members' willingness to accept the COVID-19 vaccine. Though this could increase members' willingness to accept the vaccine, this could be perceived as coercion on some level, or conversely, the CAF could be perceived as offering financial career incentives for those CAF members willing to accept vaccination. Yet this approach would align with current practice related to other CAF medical interventions, such as vaccination against yellow fever for operations in select locations. I mentioned yellow fever already, all right? Options C and D. This would be CAF members ordered to receive COVID-19 vaccinations based on requirement of all expeditionary or domestic operations or force readiness levels, respectively. And option E, this would see CAF members ordered to receive COVID-19 vaccinations as a requirement for universality of service. Basically, if you don't get it, you're out. So the recommendation was option B. So currently, there's no supporting evidence to suggest that there is a need for all CAF members to be vaccinated. Shocking. Therefore, implying that this is required compliance with universality of service is a bona fide occupational requirement at this time would be incorrect. Based on the limited data available on the authorized COVID-19 vaccines, it is recommended that there be no formal requirement for the vaccination of CAF members, except in prospective circumstances where a member is to be deployed. And then a bunch of different categories were outlined there. So the conclusion, in all circumstances, the CAF COVID-19 immunization campaign needs to be guided by the best scientific and medical evidence justified by clear rationale, administered in accordance with best medical practices. To the extent to which the current available vaccines protect a recipient against serious illness from COVID-19 is currently unknown. Oh man, that unknown again. But they were so sure they were safe and effective. Until more data and evidence is available that allows for the understanding of the effectiveness, reduction in infectivity, and duration of immunity for each of available vaccines, public health minister and quarantine protocols should public health ministers and quarantine protocols should continue even in a scenario with 100% CAF vaccine uptake, which that doesn't make any sense either, but at least some of the stuff in here is based in rationality. And I have the signature here. Approved or not approved by Lieutenant General ACDS Wayne Iyer. Signed 10 March 21 by him right here. Approved. Option B. Option B was the one that was approved. Okay? Option B was the one approved in March. Let that sink in for a little bit. Option B. Option B was there's no supporting evidence to suggest that there needs to be a vaccine mandate, and implying that this is required for universality of service doesn't make any sense. So let's just go with the current policy. We're doing pretty good. Let's keep on rolling. Well, that all changed in August with this briefing note. And from here, the CDS decided to go ahead and say, yeah, you know what? Everybody needs to be vaccinated. Everybody. Young, old, even if you have religious apprehensions, reasons for getting it, medical reasons, fuck you, you're getting it, or you're out. And that's, the article that's here, it's, again, top general was warned military's COVID vaccine mandate was unnecessary, possibly illegal. That's in this one too. I put a little mark here just to kind of go over one of the things that kind of blew me away in this one from August. Current epidemiological modeling suggests that there lacks strong evidence to require vaccination of the remaining percentage of unvaccinated CAF members for the purpose of forced health protection, as there already exists a high level of protection afforded by CAF's vaccine uptake rate. Additionally, medical ethical restrictions prevent CAF health services personnel from administering vaccines without the informed consent of the recipients. Remember what we talked about informed consent? Coercion of CAF members to accept vaccination under threat of military discipline would not constitute informed consent. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. You done fucked up, CDS. You done fucked up. And this was published October 24th, 2022. This was in the National Post, mainstream media. So this isn't news to me. I saw this. I was like, oh, what's news to me is that even in March, he was told, hey, don't go ahead with this. What changed from him to approve in March not to go ahead with a mandate to August to go ahead with a mandate that he knew was illegal? He knew it was illegal. So we always need to come back to the question, cui bono. So I'm searching, and maybe you should too. Let's fire up the ATEP request machine. What document convinced the CDS, or what meeting convinced the CDS to flip-flop? I can tell you right now, military officers, having been one, don't flip-flop. So the CDS knew this was an unlawful order, but he carried it out anyways. Now we need to find out why. What was his motivation to issue an unlawful order knowing that it was unlawful? That's where we have to get to the bottom of this. This is part of the corruption. This is part of the infiltration of terrible ideologies into the highest forms of government. I don't know what to do about this, but it needs to be exposed at some level. If you know the answer, please reach out to me. But ultimately, those of you guys that have been suffering under this draconian, totalitarian-like regime and their mandates over the last few years, the tide is turning. And thank you for holding the line and eating the shit, because now the truth is going to come to light. James Topp is going to be on court-martial. We're going to see a lot out of that. Those individuals now have in writing that it was against your human rights to be let go and released from the forces. The tide is turning, and it's all because of you guys holding the line and sticking to your principles. And I honor you for that, and I respect the shit out of you.